Good afternoon. Live from Houston, Texas. Today's topic is what are my options for a removal case? Welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm your host, John Ting. I practice immigration law in all 50 states of America and across the world, helping you solve, solve your immigration problems and maybe even prevent it in the first place. Okay, so the topic again is what are my options for a removal case? So, removal case basically means that the government has mailed you a letter, basically a one or two-page letter, two-page document saying at the very top, notice to appear. Now, that's basically saying the government is trying to remove you from the United States, not in that moment. There's something called due process rights in America. You do have the chance to appear in court. Not necessarily explain your story because judges don't have time for that, but they want to see if they're going to ask you if you're eligible for something. Actually, they're going to ask you even more detail than that, more precise, because again, they don't have that much time. They have a lot of cases to go through. They're going to ask you, what are you eligible for? And if you're there by yourself, you may or may not know what you're eligible for, and that's okay. If it's a first court hearing, not a guarantee for you. There's a disclaimer. You need to talk to an immigration lawyer because I don't know how it is in every single court in America for immigration. But generally speaking, okay, they will give you extra time to find a lawyer. But, if you have a detained case or, you're a family member, you have a friend or a family member who is detained, time is of the essence. You cannot wait around. Okay. Don't say like, oh, I'll contact a lawyer later. Your friend or buddy does not have that much time. Okay. Because by the time that they finally have a court hearing for your family member or the person being detained, they're less patient. The judges are less patient. Okay. Because they don't normally have a court hearing 1 week after someone gets detained anyway. It probably takes another couple of weeks. So by the time they have one and then they ask for more time to find a lawyer, yeah, the next time around, could be the last one possibly. So that's one scenario. But overall, okay, if you are physically able to appear in court or your court where you live requires you to be in person, because some courts still allow video conferencing, WebEx, they use that. But some courts, they want you there in person. Okay, they're going back to normal, I guess, before the pandemic. So the way our team prepares cases, number one, first of all, we accept very limited removal cases on purpose. Really, it's because I want to make sure that our team is ready to go to comply with the deadlines. When there's a court case, removal case, there's a lot of deadlines. And sometimes all of a sudden a judge will want a deadline sooner than expected. Okay. It doesn't happen all the time. So my point is, though, I'm sharing this information because you need to be ready. All right. So if you have a removal case, not for everyone, but if you're in a removal situation, you may have gotten caught up with, law enforcement. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It is what it is. Maybe I'm not saying it was like murder or something. I have heard of that, but it could be like, I don't know, just making it up right now, theft of a candy bar. Maybe you're just hungry for Snickers. I don't know. But yeah, which by the way, theft is a big deal for immigration court. DWI is a big deal. Believe it or not, there's Supreme Court cases about that. So with that being said, if you do have any kind of criminal history, including even if you're arrested only, but it was dismissed, like a straight dismissal, or you had to, or not had to, but you signed a plea bargain for community supervision. Every state calls it different. Every county might call it a little slightly different. But if you had some kind of result, I'm sorry, your case is pending, we need the indictment. Okay, so here's a list of documents. We need the indictment, the basically the charging document. Every state calls it different, so I'm just kind of labeling all these documents. The plea bargain, when you sign plea bargains, it won't say plea bargain on the top usually. It'll say like deferred disposition, deferred adjudication. I don't know, what is it? In some counties, like in Dallas County, it doesn't say dismissal order up top. It says motion for dismissal, and at the bottom it'll say order. So it's kind of strange how they do it, but I don't know. I know some lawyers that practice criminal law, they like it because other than the whole the fast pace of it, I guess you can say. I think it's kind of slow, but the trial of it is fast paced. There's less documents that they have to prepare. So even the court motion dismiss, it's like one document. It's kind of in civil courts, it's not like that. It's like two different documents. So, anyways, a little tangent there, but basically, if you can get anything out of this, the first takeaway: if you hire a lawyer, immigration lawyer, and you have a removal case, I would hope that they ask this, or they tell you, I need all your criminal documents. So at least if you've been watching this video, I'm going to save it after the show. At least you have an idea what you should prepare or provide to your lawyer. In fact, if you're going to spend time in a consultation, just bring those documents. It's just going to be less back and forth. Okay. And honestly, that's partially the reason why we accept limited removal cases, because some of y'all are slow. Every time we need something by a deadline and you can't not provide, or some clients are not provided, it can affect the outcome of your case. So it's kind of strange. I don't know. It's like a human behavior thing, I guess, because when I was in law school, I interned for I'm not going to state the organization's name because don't want anything to people feel bad or anything, but and not that the organization did anything wrong, but I was learning that, right? I'm learning a lot many years ago that people, even though they were getting services for free, legal services, they didn't provide us the documents. And I was like, why is that? That's kind of strange. It's really strange to me. So, but our team, okay, a team law group, we try our best to give you the resources to get those documents, okay? Now, of course, if your county has a system online, we try to do it for you. But look, if some counties don't have proper online systems so we can search it and download it, then, it takes a little more work. But the thing before that is you should tell your lawyer the truth. Because some of y'all, we had this call the other day, and because of this call, we had to change the way we had to be more cognizant of the type of calls that we get. We really want to be able to help someone in the immediate moment, and that person didn't have immediate need. But I guess the point is he only shared only two of his criminal documents, and they were both dismissed. It was great. But then all of a sudden on the third one, we were transitioning, the call basically done. I had to go to another meeting, but then he asked about his third crime. I was like, what's that about? I don't see that in the notes. So my point to you, to all of y'all watching, whether it's with our team or someone else's law firm, you got to be truthful from the get-go, from the first person you talk with, okay? Of course, you might not trust that person. But the deal is, law firms are like any other company. When you speak to the first person, that person is going to get as much information as possible. So by the time you have the consultation with the lawyer, we could provide you the most thorough advice possible or legal strategy. Okay, so that's just my tip. Whether you call our firm or not, maybe we're just too particular, but we get a lot of consultations all day. So, and honestly, we just try to be mindful of everyone's time, right? Because if that consultation was at 12 o'clock and someone else waiting at 12:30, I don't want to be a doctor's office where other people are waiting in the room too long, right? That's not how we roll. We're going to get through this. We're going to help you. We're going to give you the proper information as soon as possible. So please don't be that person. Please cooperate with our team, our cares team, okay, which is the folks that answer the phones, okay? What are your options for removal case? So this is not meant to be like a thorough 1, 2, 3. Here's a case type. Here's another case type you could be eligible for. We're going to provide go live on separate videos about that, separate shows, because it can be very detailed, as you can imagine. But the most common one, all right, is something called cancellation of removal. 42, it could be something called 42A or 42B. 42A means that you currently have resident status. All right. And then 42B is for people who don't have any status, don't have a green card. Okay. And let's see here. So 42B, cancellation removal for non-legal permanent resident, meaning you don't have resident status right now, is the most common. Okay. Because that's usually kind of like the default fallback. because there's something called VAWA, cancellation removal. If you've been abused by your, for example, spouse, doesn't have to be a spouse. It could be a child, actually. Kind of crazy, but could be your spouse, and does not have to be a citizen. Could be a resident, and the standard for that is lower. Okay, for the legal standard in terms of arguing your case in court. But if there is no abuse, then it'd be cancellation rule 42B when you don't have any kind of status at all. And then the next thing to think about is that we're going to ask you, attorneys will ask you, how long have you been in America? When did you enter? Okay. Oh, you entered in 2012, right? 2000, let's say 2012. Did you ever leave ever after that? Okay. If you did leave, how long were you gone outside America? Okay. Just a couple days, right? So this takes a lot of time, right? So our CARES team, oh shoot, I realized I didn't have the mic on my shirt. My bad for the folks on Instagram. Just get on a roll sharing this advice. By the way, if you enjoy the content, please smash the heart button or the likes, the thumbs up on YouTube or Facebook. Sorry, I coughed into the mic. My bad. Let's see here. I'm going to answer the questions. Sorry, I just want to get through this question topic of the day. Okay, back to cancellation removal for non-permanent residents. The whole deal is 10 years. Okay, that's really the first question we ask about related to that. 10 years, and you have to have some kind of hardship. Okay, it's something crazy. The law calls it, I get kind of mixed up every once in a while, exceptionally and extremely unusual hardship. Whereas if you had resident status right now and got caught up in removal proceeding, it's called extreme hardship. It's a little bit different. The legal standard is a little bit higher. There's no true definition. But that kind of give you an idea. Let's see here. Sorry, I had to message my team on something. Let's see here. So the deal is cancellation removal. There's a couple different types. All right. So you want to be mindful of which one you'd be eligible for. You want to know exactly, because when people call us and we're like the second or fifth, 20th lawyer that people call, I don't know. It doesn't surprise me, but unfortunately, it doesn't surprise me that they just don't feel comfortable yet in continuing with that prior lawyer, or even if they haven't hired. It's like because they haven't thoroughly explained, they haven't received the information thoroughly. So, we always tell clients even that you're always welcome to self-schedule appointment. Now, look, it's not 24/7. We got to rest a little bit. Okay. But we take at least Saturday and Sunday off. I still review cases, but I can't answer calls, go live show. Otherwise, it'd be a little bit crazy for me. So trying to maintain my mental health too. Mental wellness. I think that's very important these days, right? And anyways, your lawyer needs to be able to explain your situation, because I have noticed whenever we've been, in court hearings or in that where I can have the opportunity to observe other people, and that judge is like, yo, like, I need this information, and the lawyer doesn't know the information. I'm like, you don't know the basics of the client's case? Like, it's mind-blowing, because some of these lawyers are wasting other people's time. All the other lawyers are waiting in the room, the virtual room, or in the physical room, or even those clients, right? You gotta make sure. It's kind of disheartening, but the lawyer, you might need to remind your lawyer something. We don't take any offense. We're not perfect. There could be a situation where we need a little reminder. Okay, we don't take offense to that. We have workflow where we remind y'all of things, certain time period, and you might cut us to the chase, right? That's all good. We don't take offense to that. We want to make sure it goes back to our mission. The reason why we don't take offense to it is many reasons, but number one, it goes back to our mission. We want to help people have legal status to live and work in America legally. Okay, so that legally part is kind of important, right, for the conservative folks. And some of y'all foreign nationals, immigrants, are conservative yourself, which is all good. It's all good. In fact, the Democrat Party wants you to believe that they're always for immigrants. That's not always the case. If that was the case, I think you would hear more from them right now. But it's kind of quiet, isn't it? It's kind of strange. But at the same time, Biden, any president is not perfect. My belief, I don't want to go on a tangent here, but anyway, the thing that can help you folks, if you have a removal case, don't blame Biden, okay? He's trying to help you guys, believe it or not, in this situation, if you have a removal case. Because lately, and Attorney General Merrick Garland, when it was President Trump, he really confused the judges, immigration judges, and immigration judges felt like their hands were tied in the sense that they did not have the authority to dismiss cases, to close them, like I did the other day, basically rip it apart. Because I think someone messaged us the other day a document. It does something like motion to put the case off calendar. I've never seen a motion phrased that way, but I think that's basically saying I want the case to be administratively closed. Administratively closed, like I showed the other day. I got another book I can demonstrate. Okay. Administratively closed just means it's closed, but still hanging out in the court. Okay. You don't want it to hang out in the court. Okay. You want it to be dismissed. That's not in the court locally. All right. Not in the building. So the key thing here is if you have to make your case stronger for prosecutorial discretion, it's preferable that you have some kind of petition pending, already filed it, or you're about to. Because by the time you come to us, we're going to highly encourage you to file that petition. Or, of course, it will help you if you want our services. If anything, we had scenarios where people file their own petition, but we help them with the PD part. It's all good. We don't have to, we're a la carte service here. Okay, we can help you with that, anything that you need. But sometimes it's easier for us, our team, to help with everything. Like someone asked the other day, I think it was for like mandamus lawsuit. We don't have to take over your consular processing case or your 485 part. We don't need to do that. We can help you with the mandamus part of it, the federal lawsuit. So, what are my options for a removal case? That is a very broad question that I put myself on, but you just have to know the basics here. I already shared about the criminal documents if you have criminal history. The second thing, which really should be the first thing, is show up, okay? Don't miss that court date. Don't miss it, okay? If you don't have a lawyer, you definitely should go in person. Again, because some cases, some courts have different rules for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's federal level, so you would think everything's uniform. For better or worse, it's not. Because if you do have a lawyer and you can go to the lawyer's office to have the hearing. But of course, it depends where you are in the country, right? If your lawyer's not in the same, city or state, then that'd be a little different scenario, which we have that kind of situation. Let's see what else. So you need to show up. The consequence of not showing up. Key thing right here. You got to follow me here. The consequence is that the judge will order you removed. We call it order in absentia. So those folks that are joining in right now, the second tip I'm sharing right now is that you have to show up. I know some lawyers might say, like, we don't need to share that tip. That should be common sense. But clearly it's not, because some of y'all have called us and said, John, I think I have a court date. I found out I had a court date, but I didn't show up. Well, why is that? Do you know why? What I come to find out most of the time is because some people have not updated their address to the court, which makes sense if you didn't update the court directly, because maybe you were never involved in court with the immigration court before. But typically how it is that maybe whether you got stopped at the border, Mexico and US, or Canada and US, You didn't provide the right address. Maybe you provided your uncle or aunt's address, a family member. Understandable, right? Because you've never been in the U.S. But some of y'all, I've heard, basically put a fake address. That's not a good idea, folks, because then you don't get update, right? Unless you have a document and they gave you a document in the hand right there that has a alien number. I hate to use the word alien, but basically it's your case file number. You need to know that number. Okay. Usually starts with 2. If you have a case from a long time ago, they'll start with a 0. Okay. But anyways, we use that number. So when you call our CARES team, we like to research online because the court actually, surprisingly, has a website that we can search and look online what happened in the past. It doesn't show for every single event, every single court hearing. That would be great. That would save a lot of time. Otherwise, we have to request a CD and listen to all the court hearings. That can be long. But so, anyways, they do at least show if you did have a prior case, like if it was done or we call it disposed of. What was it? Basically, what was the conclusion? Was it like grant? But usually, people that call us, it's denied or order removed, something like that, absentia or not. And it shows where it happened, what city. Could have been Miami, could have been New York City, and I think it even has the address. So anyway, when we see that and we say, oh, did the court have your address? What other U.S. immigration agency were you involved in before? Okay, if it wasn't the customs at the border, then it'd be USCIS, right? If you filed an application and then maybe the application it was a marriage case or something, and then you got separated and then you didn't update the address. Not saying, and in Biden administration, I really haven't heard this that much. I mean, it still happens every once in a while, but the USCIS will refer someone who's been denied for the affirmative immigration benefit application. They'll get referred to court, but that's pretty rare. It happened a lot during Trump, okay, but Trump administration. But that's something to keep in mind. You got to update your address, okay, so that you know about the court hearing. And people ask, if you go to court, will they? And let's say you don't have a lawyer. I know people are fearful, and that's why some of y'all may not even show up to court if you even know that you have court date, and it's because you think that immigration agency or whoever is going to like literally physically remove you. I haven't heard this disclaimer. I can't promise for you, but I have not heard, even my own class or anyone else's class, anyone being physically removed, like put on a plane type of situation from a court hearing. Even if someone's been order removed, they don't physically remove someone and put someone on a plane. I'm kind of surprised because, of course, all these conservative folks wonder. I mean, it is what it is. Some people overstay, right? Because you have order removal. The life is here. So I get it. I don't encourage one way or the other. You do what you do. But anyways, Valerie Rossi, thank you. Happy to always share useful information. Yeah, I am legally fit. Oh, nice. I like that. Yeah, you said PTI doc. You must be a criminal defense lawyer. Y'all check him out. You look like a guy on there. His photo's a little small. Or the icon. Thank you. Thank you, legally fit. Maybe we need to do a joint video one day. If legally fit, you're still on. Let us know where you're located. I like that name, by the way. Christian Clothing. USCIS sent you a notice, was not delivered to you by the post office. What can you do? It's I-360. Okay. You can go online. Okay, let me see if I can pull it up on greencardguys.tv. Okay, that's our YouTube and channel that can show the video on Facebook as well. USCIS.gov. Let me share my screen. So if you do want to see the screen share, you got to jump over to greencardguys.tv so you can see it and take a look. So what am I doing? You asked, Sent you notice, but not delivered to you. Okay, you couldn't get it. Okay, so go to this website. Let me just make sure it shows up correctly here. Okay. Maybe I made the font too large on there. Okay, you got to go to tools, go to tools and resources, go down to e-request. Oh, what the? There you have it, folks. I think this happened to my website the other day. Sorry about that. But this is the USCIS website. It says 502 bad gateway. I guess it's not working. So you can just try every once in a while. Of course, this happens on the live show. Yeah, that's strange. That's never happened to me before. But let's try again. You click on e-request. Not good. Okay, so anyway, at least you have an idea. If that happens and the e-request is not working currently, then go to click above that, need help, ask Emma. That is a real life person, probably not called Emma, but just for simplicity purposes. But basically a website chat, and let them know, Christian, or anyone else that did not receive the paper notice in the mail, that you have not received the notice, whether it's receipt notice, approval notice, yeah, or even an RFE, because online, if they send you an RFE or some kind of document, they will update you online. The online case status is not great, but at least they're good with that part. So they'll let you know that. Anyway, there's an e-request tool option here, as you can see on Green Card Guys.tv here. And there's an option for, I think, something like did not receive notice or something like that. And there's a box, I think, description box. You can put in a little bit more detail. You can add your, they have to verify that's you, of course, date of birth, your name, address, all that good stuff, email address. So hopefully that helps. Okay, let me switch over to Facebook and YouTube comments. Good afternoon, Anu. Nice to see you. Maria Tapia. What about parole in place? Okay, parole in place. Great question. I love this question. You need to have a family member in the U.S. military or served in the military. Okay, they need that DDID. Okay, DD. It's essentially the purpose of parole in place. Lawyers call it PIP. We like in immigration, we like a lot of acronyms. All right, but you need to the main benefit here is that if you have entered the United States without a visa, lawyers like to call it without inspection, EWI, EWI, then this can benefit you. The parole in place, military parole in place, more specifically. Okay, it doesn't have to be an active duty member. Okay, it can be. A person can be in the reserves, or the person, whether living or deceased, God bless them for the service, previously served on active duty, or in the reserve, but it was not dishonorably discharged. Okay, but if you're in the reserves, then there's no need to mention about this honorable discharge or not. Okay, so again, the main benefit of PIP here, parole in place, is for people who are present in the U.S. who did not enter America with a visa in the first place. But at this point, maybe you have immediate relative classification. The most common one is a spouse who is a U.S. citizen, or adult child over 21. That's very common these days. Let's see here. What's the other scenario? When I said DD earlier, it was 214, by the way, the ID, military ID. All right, so you need to show your relationship to that person. Of course, they need to prove it's real and all that. But we have situations where the spouse is a resident. And you might wonder, well, is that okay? Yeah, it can be okay. But it doesn't, the spouse, when I mention spouse, that doesn't mean that the spouse has to be the military member. Okay. But, it just depends, right? Because we have a situation where the adult son or daughter is in the military, reserve or active. And maybe that person can sponsor. But let's say your son or daughter is a resident, but not a citizen. So it's a lot of strategy here. And but you do have a spouse who's a citizen or a resident. Well, is which one's going to be quicker for that person to become a U.S. citizen, right? Because once your family member, that specific family member becomes a U.S. citizen, then that can change it from a family preference category to a little bit faster, immediate relative, meaning the visa is immediately available. Now, doesn't mean you can pick it up, get status tomorrow, but it means you don't have to wait in the visa bulletin time period. Like, there's just a long wait period. Otherwise, it just depends on your status and family relationship. So that's a lot of things that we, want to share on here, live show, these hot tips. But if, of course, you want to verify folks with our legal team, our premier attorneys, our dream team, then I'm offering this to y'all. If you're new to the channel and want to access this, please follow us, subscribe down below. If you don't mind, smash the hearts and the likes. But I want to offer this to you. Free 15 minutes with our legal team. There's no obligation to hire us. We are honored that you even consider us showing up on a live shows. Because we're here on Monday through Friday. Some of y'all here every day. That's so nice of y'all. I'm trying to find the right time to always go live. So far, it seems like 12 o'clock is about a good time. This whole algorithm thing is kind of crazy. Trying to figure that thing out. If you know anything about social media, please share. We're always trying to learn. Always trying to share a lot of tips. So that hopefully, Maria, that gives you a little bit more idea. Not sure if that was your specific question. I guess you were just asking generally. Let's see here. Enoch, on to you, my friend. Hi, John. I'm trying to have my wife file for me. You moved to a different state for work. What are some of the things you can use as proof, and how is my move going to affect your process? That's a great question. We've had plenty of cases where people are not living physically together, but there's a plan. I mean, I hope the plan is to eventually live together, but in that kind of scenario, we want to what we call confront the situation to the USCIS and write a letter explaining it. Okay. Now, look, you don't have to go crazy and write every single detail of your plan. You don't have to be so detailed, like know everything, but you can at least state why you're separated or physically separated. Okay. And because they're going to ask that at the interview. Okay. I can't guarantee anything. Sorry. I cannot guarantee. I'm not allowed to. But, there's talk about, in some of these cases being adjustment of status interviews being waived. Number one, if you don't provide medical exam or you have like different addresses, your case is likely not going to be waived. You're going to have an interview because they need an opportunity to ask you questions. All right. So if you confront the situation, it's like maybe what Legally Fit would say, if I'm assuming he's a criminal defense lawyer, is that you want to be truthful to the situation. Okay. Or maybe it's not a good analogy with a criminal defense lawyer. You want to be truthful with your criminal defense lawyer, at least. Okay. But with immigration, you definitely need to tell your lawyer as well, because we can advise you on what to say properly. Not trying to say that you're lying or anything, but these immigration officers, they don't have time to read like a 10-page letter. They don't got time to look at, they don't have time to look at your 100 photos. The photos are not going to cut it. Even if you have a 50 plus 100 photos, they don't want to look at that. Okay. What we do, honestly, in terms of photos, 10. That's a key number for us. We've even been in interviews and people are insistent on bringing their photo album. I'm like, they don't got time for that. They want to see, what they really care about is that you're commingling funds. Your accounts are together. Okay. It doesn't mean that every single financial account has to have both names on it. Okay. As an account holder, you could be a beneficiary, payable upon death, POD. If one of y'all pass away, then you have access to the account, right? Or get the funds out of that account. That's helpful. Maybe you're not actually an account holder, but you're the POD of that account. All right. So you can't touch it until later, but I do recommend that at least one account is joint. Okay. So, and typically I recommend the one that is, used more often. All right. Or you can create a new one. I say use more often because the whole point here is that it's not just seeing both names on that account, but seeing eventually, especially if you recently got married, you're not going to have that transaction activity together. That's understandable. The government knows that. These officers know that. But when the interview comes, then you're going to have to provide updated bank statements. And if your bank statements don't have really that much transaction activity, they're going to question that probably honestly more than you being physically separated before. Okay, so there's your answer, Enoch. Hopefully that helps. The proof here, the pudding in the proof, folks, is the financial accounts. That will help overcome that you both are living separately, plus your statement, your letter explaining the situation. Okay, but in these kind of scenarios, I hate to say it, I don't know if you noticed this, but I hate to say it, but I gotta say it as PC as possible. USCIS tends to issue a RFE, notice of intent to deny, or even straight out deny people from certain countries. I don't like to say the race color. I think it's more of the country per se. But if you agree with me on that, smash the like button. Let me know in the comments what you think. Maybe if you have a previous case before and had a similar scenario like that, and you thought, holy crap, I've provided a crap ton of evidence, but they still sent me a notice of intent to deny, RFE, or denied my case. I feel so bad for you. But I think when they see that you have a lawyer helping you, it may prevent that a bit more. Okay. Okay. Good. And what we try to do with you, with our clients, when we suspect that there could be something like that, I guess you can say discriminatory in some sense, then we try to prepare you for that. Okay. To be ready. Because that's when it's kind of like in their own internal system, they're putting a red flag. And they're saying, oh, red flag. I got to ask like 20 more questions to this couple. I feel so bad for y'all. It's ridiculous. But unfortunately, the data shows to them that sometimes they're fake cases from certain people from certain countries, and they just have to use the data. It's just like our team. We use data to understand which cases take more time, which don't take as much time, things of that nature. Let's see. Instagram. Oh, y'all got a lot of questions today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Okay. Anyway, Enoch, hopefully that helped answer your question a bit. Okay. Nim Bim, 1984. You already left the U.S. You would like to know if there's a way to apply for a waiver of overstaying your tourist visa in the past to apply for a new visa. So when it comes to unlawful presence and you've been legally fit, you're an immigration lawyer. Great, cool. And you're Houston also. Okay, cool. Yeah, we should do like a, if you're still on, we should do a, what do you call that, video, kind of joint video or something. Nimbim, you said that apply for waiver. That's right. Unlawful presence. Okay, 601A. 601A is your way to go on that. All right. But Nimbim, you gotta be eligible for it. You gotta be eligible. You can't apply just because you may have money to pay for it, which, by the way, talking about money, USCIS is not our friend in this situation. They're about to increase the fees. It's coming. You can't stop it. When it was President Trump, Democrats stopped it, essentially. But no one's going to stop the Democrats this time. You think the conservatives are going to stop and sue them for this? They're more focused on TPS and stopping people who have DACA from becoming citizens. The fees? They're okay with that. Conservatives, they're going to let them charge more money. So be ready. Yeah, 212D3. Yeah, that for this situation, if Nimbim you're talking about coming here on a non-immigrant visa. So yeah, you gotta be eligible for it. Just because you may have money for it does not mean you're eligible. So check with the immigration lawyer, chat with them. We offer free 15 minutes, and we try to guide you. You might not be qualified for a free consultation, but we usually have guides for a certain scenario to point you in the right direction. Okay. Which, by the way, if you're one of those folks that have a list of questions, be mindful that some people who are signing up for these, taking a quiz on our website, greencardguys.com, might not have that many questions. So they're able to fit in for 15 minutes. But if you know you you're one of those folks that want to ask a lot of questions, that's cool. We offer that 30 minutes, but you got to pay money for that. Okay. It's $199 for me and $149 for my premier legal dream team. All right. For 30 minutes. So hopefully that helps. But honestly, we don't accept every single case. You might not have known this. I think that's the downfall of a lot of law firms in general. They accept a lot of cases, even in immigration law firms. There's so many case types. We're very specific in what we accept so that we can maintain our case workflow. That is how we can file cases in a certain time period. Okay, folks. I apologize if you call in and we basically tell you no. I'm sorry, but we try our best to give you some information to point you on your way, guide you to the next step. Okay, that's really what that free 15 minutes is all about. Again, there's no obligation to hire us. We would be honored if you do want to see a quote of our fees, but we're really focused on customer service. So, if you see a quote and you think it's higher than most folks, it is probably. But we offer customer service, believe it or not. Okay, we answer your calls. We do. Oh, okay. Well, our phone system has some issues the past week or so. So we're getting that fixed. I think it's fixed right now. Our team's working on it. Our website was down for a couple hours, or the form was down yesterday. That should be up running again. So if you want to unlock those free 15 minutes and have a chance at it, our cares team is going to pre-qualify you for those free 15 minutes. You got to click on take a quiz on greencardguys.com. All right. Anu, what's up on YouTube? You said, what's the current timeline for I-360 approval? Website says 36 months, but if I heard anything approved less than two years, no, sorry. No, not less than 2 years. That'd be great. But even if I told you less than 2 years, what's the point? I hate to say, I'll be misleading you to have you think that yours could be less than 2 years. Okay. But if you contact us and more people tell us it's taking definitely more than 3 years, then let's talk. We might do a mandamus lawsuit. But yeah, if it's less than 3 years, we're not going to file a mandamus lawsuit for that. And unfortunately, because these VAWA cases, I-360s go to Vermont Service Center, and for whatever freaking reason, they're freaking slow. Okay, they're the worst. I apologize for anyone that works at the Vermont Service Center. I don't know what's going on over there, but if you're following us channel, please let us know. We would like to know why it's taking so long. And I'm just assuming it's not the people working there. Okay, y'all helping us, but I'm assuming it's a system, the workflow process. That's something, as being the owner of my law firm, I talk about with my team. How can we improve our workflow? Okay, make sure we don't have any gaps in the service. Website. By the way, Anu, the website does say, which when we check every single week for most of these cases, yeah, it's increasing. I think Baltimore field office for 485, for example, I think last week said 49 months. And we checked like 3 weeks before that and it said 30 something months. So it's getting pretty ridiculous. And actually, Steny Hoyer, I think he was in the House representative. He sent a letter. I don't know if the letter does anything, but he sent a letter along with other Congress people saying what the hell's going on over there in Baltimore field office. I don't think that will change anything, unfortunately. Politicians can only do so much. So we'll see. Speaking of politicians, some of y'all have called and asked about mandamus. Thank you so much for considering us. I know there's a lot of other lawyers that are capable as well, but we're happy to help you. But one of the main questions y'all have about mandamus lawsuit is, should I wait, or should I even file an inquiry with your congressperson? I mean, you can, but the end result is really nothing substantive. The result, your outcome you want, is a decision. I mean, of course, approval or visa issuance, that'd be great. But the other thing is, the decision, really, or the interview. That's what I was trying to think. The interview, because some of y'all have been waiting for like 6+ years for something. Whether it's 485 or asylum, it's more likely asylum if it's more than 4 years. But I know we've had some clients waiting 3+ years for adjustment status. It's ridiculous. And that can cause a strain, um, not only on the employment case, but like marriage cases, of course. But employment case, because it was a pain point. Uh, some of y'all are suffering in employment case 45 because you have to continue working for that company. And of course, inherently, you probably want to call enhance your career, enhance your resume in a sense, take it to the next level in your career. And so that's just something to think about. Okay, if you want to jump jobs and your 45 is based on employment, you got to file that lawsuit. All right, federal lawsuit and call mandamus. Great questions, everyone. Thank you so much. But yeah, do you need to wait for the inquiry? Our plans are set up. We have actually 4 different plans when it comes to mandamus lawsuits, really based on timing to file the lawsuit. Um, but our gold plan, depending on the jurisdiction, depending where you live, we have access to contact the local attorney before file lawsuit to see if we can get the result for you. Cannot make any promises. We don't have that connection with every single court. So in some places we don't offer the gold plan. So kind of think about that though, because some of y'all have been waiting a long time and it's holding up your ability to move on to the next step in your life. So take action. You know what the action is. You just gotta make the decision. Ultimately, again, whether it's with us, our team, or not, we're just here to share with you the action plan so you can take action. Okay. Because a lot of y'all have been waiting a long time. All right, back to you, Anu. Can anyone apply for a travel permit, the 3-year reentry permit on green card, or you need to have a valid reason? I think it depends on the scenario, the classification of what you select. If it was based on, you have an I-360, but anyway, so I think it's a little bit early for you to ask, unless you're talking about someone else or asking on someone else's behalf. But yeah, typically even the 131 form for an application for advanced parole, even when it's a case involving what do you call, adjustment status with a spouse, okay, U.S. citizen spouse. We just put in a couple countries in there. It doesn't mean you actually have to travel to those countries. But in those scenarios, we just put tourism. So, but in other classifications, you have to put something. But yeah, if you're talking about the re-entry permit, yeah, great point. We have shared this on the show before, I think last week. If you get the green card, and as soon as you get the green card, or you're about to enter the U.S. and you're like, I don't know about living here all the time, because we know some people from certain countries, especially when adult children are sponsoring their parents, they're used to life a certain way where they live, but they just want to hang out in America for a couple months at a time. You got to get the reentry permit, or maybe they have a business they need to continue working at or supervise, or just sell it. They need time to do that. The reentry permit, you have to apply for it. And I would just mention something like that. Those would be the reasons, right? For the most part. But yeah, I don't believe actually the government is really strict on that. The USCIS being very strict on the reason for the re-entry permit for that specific classification. Okay, so hopefully that helps, Anu. Thank you for asking. Appreciate it. If, by the way, we've got 48 minutes. This is longer than normal. If you enjoy the way we share content, please give us a follow, subscribe, and smash the hearts and likes. Man, I'm getting tired, folks. I need to drink some water. Christian, you said, thanks for answer my question. Do I think that USCIS can approve I-360 without RFE? Let me call USCIS real quick. Ring ring. Yeah, you need RFE? What documents you need? They're slow as hell. They may ask for RFE at the very beginning of your case, and this is for any case type. They might ask for your RFE, some documents at the beginning case, or at the very end of the case. It's really ridiculous. And you say, because you don't know what's in the notice that they sent back. Some of y'all have an idea. You may not know this, Christian, but some of y'all may have an idea what they could ask for, especially maybe like Enoch, for example, earlier on YouTube, asked if, um, basically if you can file when your spouse lives in a different state or different city. So that's the idea, right? They might want documents about that situation to show the bona fide marriage. But in your situation, Christian, AHS Clothing, um, I don't know. I360 is used for many different applications, but I'm assuming because I talk about VAWA a lot here and here too, that yours is about VAWA. So they might ask about proof of abuse to some extent. And and sometimes actually in the USCIS request for evidence notice, they actually give you some examples of what they're looking for. Now, does that mean you have to really look at that like black and white, that is the only document you should give them? No, you might need to think outside the box. And that's one reason to hire a lawyer. Again, it doesn't have to be our team. There's plenty of great lawyers. I see here, there's a couple great lawyers on here that join the show as well. So thanks for connecting here, showing some love. This stuff is not easy. There's a lot of people to help. And I find that immigration world, helping folks in America, a lot of us are cordial. We get along because we're here to help people. All right. So, I mean, some are not. Some are just there for the money. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I learned something from my mom. She said, don't worry about the money. When you help people, money will come, right? So that's why I'm here, focusing on solving immigration problems for y'all. How much do I charge for consultation? If you want to speak with me directly, because I have limited time, it's $199 for 30 minutes. We want to make sure that you have the opportunity to ask those questions. But if you want to access those free 15 minutes, you're welcome to do that. Go to our website, greencardguys.com, click on Take Quiz, and our CARES team will pre-qualify you. It's like applying for a loan, but not as difficult. Just got to answer a couple questions. It really save you time and save our team's time because, the phone calls can take 15, 30 minutes before you speak with a lawyer. Especially if you have a deadline, we don't want to waste your time and then, come to find out later, because some people don't want to share a lot of information to our CARES team. And I get it. You don't know them, but I mean, that's kind of our filtering process. That's how we pre-qualify people. So please, if you're considering to want to unlock, whether you want to unlock those free 15 minutes or pay for consultation, please, cooperate with our CARES team. They're trying their best to get you scheduled for something. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, folks, I think that's it. So today's topic was, what are my options for removal case? It's a very broad question. I'm just going to the basics. It wasn't so much about like the legal requirements for each. We call it relief, court relief, immigration court relief. We accept very limited removal cases, so I don't know if I want to go in full detail about that. But one takeaway, if you're still on, thank you so much. One takeaway from this, at least, two, show up to court. Number two is, if you have a case in court, whether it's active case, like you have a court hearing coming up, whether that's 1 year from now, 2-3 years from now, or it's a case that's been closed or order removed, and you have some kind of petition on file for you, you may be you're probably going to be qualified for prosecutorial discretion. Now, will the government lawyer agree to it? That's to find out, TBD. Find out later. Let's talk about it. Contact us. Let's get your case moving so you can secure your legal status. Folks, thank you so much and have a wonderful day. If you got some value from our conversations over here on the live show, please go to reviewteamlaw.com. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.